get done with roll call. Yeah, I have. I figured it would be Renisha. Yeah. Plus.
The March meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission meeting to order. This time I'd like to go over the meeting procedures that are printed on the back of the first page of your agenda. The chairman will announce each case and ask interested parties to indicate their presence by raising their hand. Commissioners will discuss details of the case, calling on staff for details. Following this discussion, commissioners may choose to ask questions of parties present. Interested persons may speak to support or protest the application. The applicant will be entitled to one brief rebuttal. Interaction between the applicant and protestants on the floor is not permitted. Persons speaking are asked to approach the center podium one at a time to introduce themselves by name and address and to present their position as succinctly as possible. And if you would sign in, please. The Commission asks each speaker to limit his or her remarks to no more than 5 minutes. Following the public hearing on an application, the Commission will take one of the following actions. 1, approve the certificate of appropriateness. 2, continue the proposal. 3, deny the proposal with prejudice, which means the application may not be resubmitted for at least 1 year unless the Commission determines that circumstances have changed. Or deny the proposal without prejudice, which means the applicant may reapply at any time. When an application has been approved and after a 10-day protest period has expired, the Historic Preservation Officer will mail the CA to the applicant. City construction permits cannot be issued until the CA has been issued. Contact HP staff for final design review inspection or to review items that will not be completed. And finally, any person aggrieved by any decision granting or denying a CA may appeal to the Oklahoma City Board of Adjustment. All appeals shall be made within 10 days of the Commission decision by filing a written notice of appeal with the clerk of the Board of Appeals. And as I sometimes do, I forgot to ask Paula to call the roll. Would you please?
Alan Brown.
Present.
Neela Crank-Clements.
Present.
Suzanne Broadbent.
Present.
Heather Clemmer.
Present.
Greg Eddington. George Massey.
Present.
Mary Jo Meacham.
Present.
Klaus Ryman Phillip.
Present.
Ann Zacharitz. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to item 2, Office of the Historic Preservation Officer. Katie?
So first, we just want to welcome our newest commission member, Klaus Ryman Phillip. This is his first meeting, taking Jeffrey Park's spot as an architect on the commission from the Jefferson Park neighborhood. So welcome.
Great. Welcome.
Then the next couple of items just deal with commission meeting scheduling. Well, so the State Historic Preservation Conference is June 6th through 8th in Tulsa this year, and that is open to anyone who wants to attend and learn all sorts of things about historic preservation. But it does affect the commission's meeting schedule because it always happens on the same Wednesday as our usual June meeting. Because of that, the June meeting is moved to May 30th. And the application deadline for that meeting will change as well. In July, we've also moved that meeting because of the 4th of July. So the meeting date as well as the application deadline for the July meeting have been altered.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Happens every year. So move on to item 3, acceptance of minutes of previous meeting. Any corrections or motion for approval?
Motion to approve?
Is there a second?
Before we have a second, I will
Okay.
note that we had a question about one of the items on which we had a split vote,
Okay.
and how many, or who the yeses and nos were. And we've checked in the recording, the video recording, and it does look like we actually have it down accurately based on the showing of hands. But we will can confirm that if we want to say approved with amendment to, it's a number, it's item 8, D8, and it was the motion on the garage. So page 15 of your minutes.
So at this point, we think it's correct?
Yes. Paula, would you concur? That the minutes are correct on that item that we were checking?
Yes, so the question was whether or not Ann voted for or against. And we showed her as voting for original meetings, and George voting.
Yep.
Is this number 8?
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, that, we'd had a question about that from a commission member, but it appears that the minutes are accurate based on the
Okay.
video.
So no change?
Yep.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, been moved by Suzanne Broadbent and seconded by George Massey. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. On to the code enforcement report. Item 4. Anybody from the city? No? Any comments on that?
Just if anyone has questions about the report, contact staff. If you see a number listed under the citation number, then that means they've actually received a citation, not just a notice. And you can find more out about that with code enforcement or with the city's action center.
Okay. Moving my microphone a little bit. All right. So I guess we'll move on to the continuances. Katie, anything?
No new requests.
Okay. Public hearings, 6.
No dilapidated structures and no National Register nominations this month.
Okay. Consent docket.
We have 4 items or cases on the consent docket. Commission can pull any of those if you like, or we can try and answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Okay. It's been moved by Neela Crank Clements and seconded by Suzanne Broadbent. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the consent docket is approved. And now we're on to cases for individual consideration.
I would like to make a motion to move case D8 to D2.
Okay. And that gets it into the correct order.
Into the correct order, yeah.
All right, is there a
I'll
second?
fill in. Staff asked Neela to do that because we had, as you all noticed, we had an amended agenda. That item got put in out of order, so we're moving him up to be where he should fall in the CA numbering system.
Right. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Been moved by Neela Crank Clements and seconded by Heather Clemmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item D8 is moved up to D2. So let's go on to then the first case, D1.
Before we start D1, if your application was on the consent docket, those C1 through 4, then you have been approved and you are free to go, unless you want to stay and enjoy the show.
That's exciting, too.
Yes. Okay. HPCA 17-00042 at 827 Northwest 17th Street, Mested Park, Ward 6. Consideration and possible action on application of Ginger Casper by Mark Maxted for a certificate of appropriateness to number 12, replace front balcony railing required. This is the 3rd time for this item to be heard by the commission. They are out of continuances at this point. We haven't received any new documentation.
Okay, is the applicant present? Okay. Any comments on this one? We've seen this before.
I think the railing that has been installed is quite a bit higher than what is allowed by code. The design is too decorative. Staff has suggested that, the guidelines suggest that the design be simplified and be a little bit shorter to match the maximum as identified by code. So I move for denial unless anyone has
With
comments.
prejudice?
With prejudice, yes, according to the specific findings in the staff report.
And that means that they can't come back
They cannot reapply for a year.
for a year, okay?
I just have one comment on this. I don't know, it looks like maybe in the staff report it says 4.5 feet. And it looked like, based on their construction drawings, that it was maybe 3 feet 10 inches tall. I'm not sure if that...
I'm sorry.
It looks like 40...
Could you repeat?
Yeah, on the construction drawings, I'm not sure, drawing 3, looks like it has 46 inches for the height. So that's shorter than the 54 inches listed in the staff report. It looked like, I'm not sure. That would put it at the, I guess, maximum per code.
Isn't the maximum 38 inches?
The maximum is 36 as measured
Oh,
from the
46.
floor.
Yeah,
The residential code is 36 inches.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, my bad.
So it's still
Minimum.
significantly taller.
Yeah,
Right.
minimum, right. Okay, any more questions, Klaus?
No.
Okay, it's been moved by Neela. Is there a second?
Second.
What? Okay, the move by Neela Clevens, seconded by Susan, do you have a question? Yeah. Moved by, and seconded by Suzanne Broadbent, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's denied with prejudice. Next,
Okay.
D8.
So this is where we're
Or two.
out of order, just to clarify for everyone. So HPCA 18-00003 at 716 Northwest 39th Street, Crown Heights, Ward 2. Consideration and possible action on application of Garen Steiner for certificate of appropriateness to 1, construct addition elective, 3, demolish garage elective, 4, construct garage elective, 5, install driveway elective, and 6, install paving in backyard elective. If you feel like this is deja vu, we have approved an addition at this house twice before in the last couple of years. It never seems to have gotten built. So we have a new owner and a slightly modified design for the addition and the additional proposal to replace the garage.
Okay, applicant present? Okay.
Oh, I will note one other thing
Yes.
here, if you want to sign in there.
Yes.
The applicant caught that I have the wrong drawing attached that shows windows on the west elevation. This is page 9 of 30 in your staff report. Those windows are shown as a different proportion than the ones in the existing structure, and you have the correct drawing at your seat that shows them matching the size of the existing windows.
Right, okay, good. All right. Okay. Any questions on this? Or comments?
And if I might, there was, I think, one more small change on the staff report that perhaps should be reflected. I think that in the construction of the new garage, the staff report is still noting that a brick band, which might have been sort of a high-style garage, was called for by the design, but it's not now. It's just siding. The brick band has been removed.
Okay.
and I'm happy to provide some commentary if you think it would be helpful, or I'm happy to be quiet, too.
You may be lucky here. Let's see.
Well, I broke the very first rule. My name is Garen Steiner, and I'm here on 716 Northwest 39th Street. As I think Ms. Friddle pointed out, we've got deja vu all over again. We first submitted our plans on January 7th for the February docket. So that would have been the third time, even though it had been approved twice before. And during that process, I worked very carefully with Ms. Friddle and to develop plans that I thought were acceptable. And I learned during that process that I probably outkicked my coverage in carrying the laboring war for the plans. And so I decided to pass this House from the February docket to move it to this docket and engaged professionals, because I'm not one, David Gibson and Mike Mullins from Sam Grisham's office. And so the primary plan, or the primary purpose of the plans that you have in front of you now, was to address each concern that was identified in the staff report for the February docket. And so, and I'm happy to go through those and sort of itemize what those were, the concerns that were identified in the previous staff report, or again, I'm happy to be quiet, whatever your pleasure. But I do think that we resolved it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would request that you go forward with a brief description.
I'm happy to. So, and it's neither here nor there, I don't think, for purposes of this hearing, but I grew up in Crown Heights. I grew up on 39th Street, and so I've actually bought a house 8 doors down from where I grew up on 39th Street, and this is not a house that we're going to renovate and flip. This is where I'm going to live with my family. So, as I already mentioned, what we did was redo the plans from February to today with the idea of addressing all of the concerns that were raised in the staff report. And so I think probably the simplest way to do this is to do it by elevation. So if you look at the west elevation, one of the concerns was the tie-in between the addition and the existing property, the historical structure. It somewhat eliminated the historic coins on the west side, because what we were showing was a trim piece that I think of as like a bite mark mold for teeth that worked into the coins. And so it really didn't differentiate between the historic structure and the addition as called for by the guidelines. And so the way we solved that problem was to do an offset off of the historical structure, and so the coins are now preserved. And I think it had a dual purpose. One is that it preserves the coins, and two is I think what you see now, and I do think this is also part of what the guidelines call for, is you see a differentiation between the historic structure and the addition. So that's one. Two is, on the west elevation, the original plan called for a mixture of brick and siding. And that mixture, I think, gave some pause. While it differentiated from the historic structure, I think the brick band at the base of a sided building almost made it look sort of high style and maybe just too different from the historic structure. So we solved that by eliminating any siding on the west side of the west elevation, and now what you see is all brick. The roof, I think we've greatly simplified. The old staff report indicated that the roof was a complex series of gables and hips and maybe even a partial shed. And I think what we've done now is greatly simplified the roof design. So what you see now on the screen is a very classic gable construction, and what we've done with the addition is just simply bring the gable construction back, straight back, and so you have a very clean, simple design that matches the historic structure. And I think importantly, that's what you see from Chartel. This is a street that's on Chartel. Or sorry, this is a home that's on Chartel. As far as the west elevation goes, I think we also added some details. I know we added some details to the plans that showed, for example, what the materials are going to be at the frieze board right above the soffit, right below the soffit, and the detail around the historic windows. We had showed some trim piece, but frankly, I don't think it was very clear. And now we're showing veneers, and I think it's clear, and I think it also matches the historic structure better. I I think that we have identified a bit more clearly the elevation change that you see from the south of the addition and the steps. That'll show 2 steps down coming from the south, and the same thing would be the same condition would be true also on the east side. So you see an elevation change. I think you'll see that on the site plan. On the garage, I'm moving out of the garage, obviously. I think you already know from the staff report that the garage is not original. The Sanborn maps, the insurance maps from 1955, show that the original garage was a single-story garage, which is more in keeping with the historic structure. The current garage is 2 stories, and for lack of a better way to say it, it's an eyesore. I don't know that it's, from an engineering perspective, if it's a current hazard, but very clearly the foundation has been exposed to the elements for years and years and years. Anecdotally, I think that this garage was built sometime in the 80s. I'm kind of going back to my memory of growing up on the street for a man that owned the home and housed a sailboat. And so I don't own a sailboat, and I don't intend to store a sailboat there. So I think all of that to say, I don't think that this 2-story garage that was not original has any historic character, and I don't think that demolishing and then putting up a classic historic garage is detrimental to the property. In fact, I think it increases it, both historically and in terms of value. As somebody was flipping through the pictures, it just reminded me something that we changed on the east side. With this new design, we have elected to keep an upstairs patio, which is not necessarily going to be visible from Chartel. I guess if you got just the right angle, you could see it. But I think that that's kind of a cool thing we've done to preserve one of the original elements of the home. And so you will see on the new design from the east elevation that there is an existing patio, or there's going to be added a patio. I think coming back to the garage, just ever so briefly here, you can see the picture there, and again, I don't have a better word, eyesore is all I have. I think it looks like a barn. I don't think it looks like any other garage in Crown Heights, and I've lived there for a very long time. The new plan that we've submitted, I think, also addresses one of the staff concerns that the footprint didn't match with the new garage versus the old. And so we've shown on the site plan that the west boundary of the new garage matches the boundary of the existing garage, so it doesn't get set back from the street further, as we inadvertently showed in the original plan. So I think I believe that we have addressed all of the concerns from staff, good concerns, both in terms of design and detail with the plans that you now have in front of you.
You call the existing garage 2-story.
Yes.
Is it just a tall structure? It's not really too...
It's weird.
Does it have a second floor in it?
Not really. It's sort of a storage deck. I would say that...
Storage deck. Okay.
Yeah. So it looks like somebody was maybe going to put an attic there. So the first, maybe 20 feet of the garage is just tall. And then the back has a little shop in it, and then it's got some decking back there where maybe somebody was going to put an attic.
It looks like it had a big door in front. So
I'm sorry?
It looks like it had a large door in front, which would be unusual. So
I don't know what that is up top. I mean, it looks like to me that it would have folded over and you could put hay out of it or something. Like I said, it looks like a barn to me.
We don't often get people who want to build a smaller garage than what they It's usually the other way around, so I don't know.
If I was smart, maybe I would build a 2-story and build an apartment out there for me when I'm in trouble.
Okay. Any questions?
Katie, do we need two motions, one for the demolition and the garage?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to start with that. I would make let's see, for HPCA, is the intercom weird today? Okay.
Oh, George's is on, so maybe your echo.
No, it was, that's funny. For
Stereo.
case HPCA 18-00003, item 3, I make a motion to approve the demolition of the garage with the specific findings as noted by the staff in the staff report.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Joe Meacham, second by George Massey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that item is passed. Anything else? Next.
Can the rest of it be approved with one motion?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve items 1, 4, 5, 6.
Mary Jo, before you finish
Sorry,
that,
go
I just
ahead.
have one question. Item 1, construct addition in the staff recommendation. It says to approve it with agreed-upon conditions, but there are no conditions.
Okay.
Maybe that should be number 4. Maybe that's what,
So, yeah, I think finding number 4 was intended to
Okay.
be a condition, but that has actually been submitted in between when
Okay.
the staff report
I see.
went out. So we don't need the condition.
Okay.
thanks, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, those same items with the conditions 1 through 3 for item 1 as noted by the staff in the staff report, and the specific findings for items 4 and 5 as noted by the staff in the staff report, and the specific findings for item 6 as noted by the staff in the staff report.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Joe Meacham, second by George Massey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's been approved.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you, Ms. Friddle, for all your help.
Thank you for going through the effort to do that, too, because it was a good submittal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
HPCA 18-00008 at 2416 North Robinson, Jefferson Park, Ward 2, consideration and possible action on application of Tom Spector for certificate of appropriateness to 1, remove metal soffit and replace with fiber cement board at Canopy elective. Okay, there are 17 items, so I'm not going to read them all. But to renovate this commercial structure on Robinson Avenue, this is intended to be a historic tax credit project. And there are numerous items for which staff recommended approval, and just a couple on which concerns were raised, addressing screening of the parking lot, which the guidelines say commercial parking should be screened, the use of fiber cement rather than wood at the Canopy soffit, and then some reconstruction of the canopy for which we didn't seem to have complete drawings. I think those were all our concerns.
Okay, is the applicant present? Okay. Would you come forward, and if you would sign in. And state your name also.
Tom Spector.
Okay. All right, there's quite a few items on here. Glad to see somebody doing something with this building.
There's some items where the staff gave conditions. Have you read those conditions, and are you, example number 1, where they're asking for the soffit and fascia materials to be wood?
Yeah, I'm certainly amenable to that. And the other two conditions, I don't know the proper procedure. I'm happy to just withdraw them until I can submit, the sufficient documentation.
We can, any items that aren't ready to be approved today can be continued either to the April or May meeting. You don't have to reapply.
Okay.
And then you can just get us that additional documentation for those.
Right, that'll be plenty of time.
Okay.
I have a question about the one I there's so many items, I'm lost here, but screening the parking lot,
16.
16.
Parking lot is 16.
Okay, portion of concrete.
Yeah.
I think staff wanted, the guidelines support screening the parking lot with, I think, 3-foot tall, some sort of plantings. I don't know if that's an item we would have to continue as long as he agrees to it, and then maybe with the condition that he provide what those plantings are and the location?
Yep.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
So you'd like to do that?
Yeah.
Would you do that? Okay, good. All right. How do we make, any more questions? Anybody? Ross?
I have a question regarding the storefront glazing that you plan on putting.
Regarding the storefront?
The storefront glazing, yeah, it looks like it might be tinted glass. Do you plan on having that tinted glass, or is that going to be clear?
We think there is a tinting on the inside that will just peel off.
So it's applied like something during construction, and then you peel it off after, or like a more permanent?
It may take razor blades, but it's not tinted glass.
Okay, that was my question. So it's not a...
Itself is clear.
Okay. I think it's important to maintain clear vision throughout.
Okay.
I mean, I would like to make a motion on the ones to approve that don't have things, so we can knock those up. So I'm going to list them, and then maybe there'll be questions or not. So the ones I have that I think staff was suggesting approval also was item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5, item 7, item 8, item 11, item 12, item 13, item 14. Is this the one with clear glass, a concern with clear glass also? Item 14, item 15, and item 17. Are there any?
15 have conditions or no? Yeah, they recommended a continuance on 15, so we might need to address that one separately.
15 and 17.
So not 15 and 17, so up through 14.
Right.
But not
15.
1 either.
Okay, so I'm just going to
one-
make a motion to approve those items, and then we... I would make a motion for HPCA 180008 to approve the following,
You can say the items just listed.
the items just listed with the specific findings, but none of those had conditions. Is that correct?
A few that, the ones that I think we would not want to include in your motion now is item 1, 15, 16, and 17.
Okay.
So items 2 through 14, I think are...
Okay, I had...
That's easy.
Right,
Were there any...
nothing else had conditions.
Okay, any questions on item 6, which I could include item 9, which is the stairs, and item 10, which is the new stairs. So I'd like to amend that for item 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 to be approved with the specific findings as noted by staff in the staff report.
Did everybody get that?
Okay.
Yep, I second that.
Okay, been moved by Joe Meacham, seconded by Neela Crank-Clements. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those items are approved.
Let me just note that in the findings in the staff report for one of those items, number 6, it says matching, and it should say matches, and we can just kind of treat that as a scrivener's error. It just should have been
Okay.
different verb tense or whatever.
Are you in agreement?
We'll correct that in the...
Okay.
All right, good. Okay.
So on item 1, Mr. Spector, you've said that you would agree to, instead of replacing with fiber cement, the soffit, you would use wood?
Yes.
Okay, so in the staff report, the condition is that the materials be wood, and the second condition is that you provide all of the documentation to staff prior to release of the certificate of appropriateness. Okay, good on that one? Great.
Okay.
16, you've also agreed to screen the parking with plant materials. So another thing, staff will need to get some information from you.
Would that be on the north and the east, or just the north facing the residential?
Yeah, does that apply to the alley as well as the north?
I think the guidelines apply to the alley. I think there is a parking lot just to the east of the alley. I mean, I don't really see why you'd need to screen parking from parking in that case. That's my feeling. I would think maybe just keep it on the north side, which is 24th Street, because there are a couple of houses across the street there, unless other commissioners have comments on that.
The guidelines say screen parking from adjacent streets and sidewalks, so,
Yeah.
and then that you should screen parking from streets and pedestrian areas. So, yeah, I agree that it doesn't seem too necessary to screen it from yet another surface parking lot.
Okay, so the north side. Okay.
Yeah, just the north
So
side.
it's, screening is going to be limited to the north side?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to move to approve item 1 and item 16, get a couple of other ones out of the way here. According to the specific findings and conditions listed in the staff report, for item 16, I would like to add the condition that the applicant provide a planting plan to staff prior to getting the CA.
Okay. Yep.
That's it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Neela Craig Clements, a second by George Massey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 1 and 16 are approved. So it leaves 15 and 17, right? Fencing, awning.
So on item 17, staff just needs materials and dimensions. Actually, it's listed as a specific finding. Would that be a condition?
Yes. What would the finding be?
Well, the recommendation on 17 was to continue it with the,
Okay.
essentially the finding is that we don't have complete documentation.
Do we want to bring that back to the commission on the next meeting? Is it,
I think the drawings are accurate and adequate for what we have. We simply need the dimensions and the materials, and so I'd be happy to look over that if the applicant wants to get that to us.
so do we need to list findings?
So we need findings, though.
Yep.
Wood metal mesh.
I don't know if you could list findings when nothing, okay, what you said, the drawings are accurate, or?
Yeah, so the proposed awning is, get to that part of the
Is it-
documents.
Is all we have on page 15 of the awning?
Yes.
And is it going to be all recreated?
It would be new, yes.
Okay.
There-
I would say that we need detailed drawings and details. It's not very clear.
So then do you think that needs to come back to the
I think it
commission?
needs to come back. What?
That's fine, if that's what you all think.
I mean, that could be anything. I mean, that's why I'm saying I don't, not really sure what it was.
It's a wavy line on the drawings right now.
So I would continue on 17.
Okay.
Is there,
Is that a motion?
If we continue, we have to specify the meeting to which we continue it, so we can continue it to the April 4th meeting, and you would need new documentation to us by Tuesday of next week.
Okay.
Or,
Or it could be the May, and Rita, your job is always to tell me the next meeting date, the first Wednesday in May,
Right.
and you'd have a month beyond that.
I don't think it's an onerous amount of documentation to get to you by Tuesday.
Okay. So that's the April 4th meeting.
okay, so details would include like a section so that we could, you know, everything. So I would make a motion to...
second.
What?
That was just for Katie. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I would make a motion to continue HPC 18-0008, item 17, to the April 4th meeting.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Joe Meacham and second by George Massey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That item is continued to next meeting. One more. Fence.
I think the primary issue with the fence that staff raised is just that it's 6.5 feet, not 6 feet. So
Can you make it 6 feet?
Yes, easily.
Okay.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve HPCA 18-0008, item 15, with the specific findings as noted by the staff in the staff report and the condition that the fence not exceed 6 feet.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Joe Meacham and seconded by George Massey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Okay, you're approved.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
HPCA 18-00009 at 2236 Northwest 30th Street, Shepherd, Ward 2. Consideration and possible action on application of John Bookout by Raisha Bradley of Elite Level Construction for certificate of appropriateness to 6, replace vinyl siding at West Gable to match existing elective.
Okay, is the applicant present? No. Okay.
Yes. There.
There he is, okay.
Except he's not the applicant.
Not the applicant.
I'm not the applicant. I work for the city of Oklahoma City. My name's Darrell Lawson.
Oh,
This is one of our projects that's going through our exterior home maintenance program, program designed to correct property maintenance code violations.
okay. Replace vinyl.
So this is this is a case where the requested work is clearly just not allowed. According to guideline 3.1.31, synthetic siding materials such as vinyl are not appropriate and will not be approved. So I think we need to go back with, is it wood that is on the other, is it vinyl siding on the other side as well? I forget.
All three gables are vinyl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so I know they have, I mean, are you all able to go back with wood? Is that something that you can agree to on behalf of the applicant, or?
On all three gables?
I think if you're not working on the other gables, then they can remain as they are.
I'd have to look and see where we're at on funds. It may exceed the funds, and the homeowner won't have any funds to bring in. I would have to look at that.
So we want to continue?
If
To check.
if you are able to do wood, then staff can approve that. So we could continue it,
Okay. To
I guess probably to the
May
May
2nd?
meeting, so that you don't, because we'll just work it out at a staff level, and then you don't. Or you want to do the April, just in case.
I don't know that we're going to be able to do it this year because the end of our program ends at the end of the year. By the time we get this done and back out for bid, I don't think we're going to make this year. So we may just have to reapply.
Do you mean this fiscal year?
Yes.
So it
Our
could happen
year
in
20.
July?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we could, if you think you'd do it the next fiscal year, you could get the CA for it now.
Okay, it doesn't expire.
It's good for a year.
Okay,
So
okay,
that way you
then
don't have to start this part
can
of
we-
the process over.
Can we reschedule for the next coming year?
Continue it for the April 4th meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
April 4th.
Yep.
So everything has to be done by Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, it's just siding, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Give him a little leeway on that.
Trust you.
He doesn't have to go draw the house again or anything.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Okay, I can't make that motion, so.
I move to continue HPCA 18-00009
Thank you.
to the April 4th meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Neela Crane Clements, and second by Heather Clemmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, continued. Next. D4.
HPCA 18-00014 at 621 Northwest 20th Street, Mesta Park, Ward 6, consideration and possible action on application of Floyd Simon III, Sunbeam Properties 3 LLC by Catherine Montgomery of Preservation and Design Studio for certificate of appropriateness to complete 13 various items as part of the renovation of this property. And I won't read them all out for you.
Okay, the applicant present? Okay. Okay.
Floyd Simon.
Yes, sir. All right. Any comments on this case, folks?
Was this where, was it Positive Tomorrows or some nonprofit organization?
I think they
Live?
were in there a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
I remember, okay.
Floyd, how does this one match up with the other house that was to work on a couple doors down?
What do you mean?
Just, does it compare, is it similar on the inside?
It's the same building before the other one was redone. It's the exact same structure.
That's what it sure looks like that from the street.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Are the improvements that you're planning on this one, will they match that one, or are they a little
I think
different?
they are basically the same. Are there a couple of...
Ken Onchman, 616 21st Street, Preservation and Design Studio. They're pretty similar. There's a few minor changes. We're going with a full gable over the front canopy instead of a partial. We're going to leave some of the window bump outs that we can on the east and west side, but for the most part, it's the same rebuild.
Okay.
So will it be a single-family home when it's
Yes.
completed? Okay.
Floyd, did the other one, it had a one-car garage and a covered space? Do I remember that right?
Correct.
Yep.
Same as this one. Yep.
That was a nice feature, I thought, to keep the look of it.
I don't think we could fit 2 cars in that.
No.
Okay, staff's recommending approval. Some unique circumstances. Anybody? Comments or motion?
On the unique circumstance for number 11, it asks that the final complete documentation for the ribbon drive be submitted. I think we've already done that. Is that
Oh, yep, we do have that.
very good?
Yep.
Okay.
I think that would be a condition anyway, wouldn't it? Okay. But it doesn't matter since you already have the documentation. I move to approve HPCA 18-00014, items 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, according to the specific findings and conditions in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, moved by Neela Crane Clements, and second by Heather Clemmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those items are approved. in some unique circumstances.
I think it's nice that we have the other building that's just like this one, to see what it actually will look like when it's done. That doesn't happen very often.
There's one more after those two.
Is there? Well, even better. So with that, I move to approve. There are so many pages in these staff reports this month. Move to approve HPCA 18-00014, items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, with the specific findings and unique circumstances as listed in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, been moved by Neil Clements, and second by Heather Clemmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, looks like you're approved. Thank you.
13.
Oh, we didn't do
We missed
13,
item
sorry,
13.
forgot one, 13. Did you miss that one? Oh, you're on a roll. Okay, 13, ooh. Oh, I see, it was,
Sorry, that one, I guess, it's in, the specific findings for it are incorporated into
Yep.
the recommended motion for
Number 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
right, it was left out of the
It
header.
was left out of the numbering, so,
Yep. So it has a specific finding, no
so you
units.
could either do another motion for that or possibly
Amend?
that motion to add item 13 to
Let's
the
amend.
the last motion you made.
Because it was just a mistake.
Sorry about that.
It should have had 13 there.
Yep.
It should have a 13 on there because it's included.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, then I move to amend my motion to include item 13 in the approval.
And I amend my second.
Accept that, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now it's approved.
Thank you all. Hope you have a good afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've gained our commissioner back. All right, next.
HPCA 18-00016 at 214 Northwest 18th Street, Heritage Hills, Ward 6. Consideration of possible action on application of Lillian Yokel by Sam Gresham of Sam Gresham Architects for certificate of appropriateness to 1, convert previously enclosed porch to screen porch, elective. 2, extend front porch to screen porch, elective. 3, install wrought iron style handrail at existing deck and east side of screen porch, elective. 4, install wrought iron handrail at proposed porch extension, elective. And 5, install wrought iron handrail at front stairs, elective.
Okay.
Sam Gresham, 400 Northwest 23rd, here to represent the owner. The historic condition was, it was a screened-in porch. She did have an historic photograph. She sent it to me. I couldn't find it. I don't know what I did with it. So, it is a, it used to have, in fact, a railing on the second floor, a flat roof, and all that's not part of this application. Our request is to return the historic screen porch back into a screen porch. In addition to that, to add a portion of the floor at the screen porch elevation to allow someone to walk from the front of the house into the screen porch. Currently, that wouldn't be possible. The stairs to the east side that descend to the driveway, they look like they've been replaced or repaired or something. They're in horrible shape, and they've been painted. So there's a little difficulty in understanding what their original condition might have been. They're extremely wide, excuse me, and clearly they've been settling over the years. But our proposal is to extend the porch floor out onto the porch, as it's shown in the drawings I provided, and to allow a door from the front porch to the screen-in porch. And our purpose is purely social, to have a way to invite someone in to come see them if they're outside, sitting on the porch. So
When was the porch, the porch enclosed?
When?
Uh-huh.
I have no idea. I don't know. It's been a long time. I've lived in this neighborhood for 40 years, and I don't remember it being other than that. John Chadwick used to live next door, and I don't know who he is, but he, I was working on his place when I was in my contractor years, and it was like that. I thought it was really an ugly house, but it's just those crude things that people do, when they stick in metal windows And, the floor slopes, they don't do anything about it, the floor continues to slope. It's just a strange sort of, and a crude add-on, so.
How long did you say you've been living in the neighborhood?
40 years.
40 years?
40 years. I was married to a Nesbitt. You don't
Yeah.
want to know my history. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
40 years.
The Nesbitts were here since the early 70s, so, early 60s, actually, so.
Okay.
Now, is there a door going from the second floor out onto the top of the?
No, the railing, there's a pitched roof there now, but the picture she showed, and I can only describe it to you, it shows the screened-in porch, and it shows a wood railing up at the top, Widow's Walk or whatever you call this, and it was, everything was, of course, wood. I'm proposing steel because it's light and you can see through it, and it's durable as a railing. So, and the back has a wooden deck that was added. Of course, again, it's that California style, very cheap wooden deck in the back. I propose replacing that with an iron railing as well.
Katie, hasn't some porches like this been administratively approved? I had one on 21st Street. I was hoping they did that because they went and did it, and I was told they had administrative approval.
To screen them?
No, to make it, put it back to a screen porch. It had been enclosed.
I can't recall, I think we would be able to administratively approve returning an enclosed porch to a screen porch if we had, like if Sam had submitted those photos, and if we were replicating what those photos showed, we could administratively approve it.
That's what I'm hoping they did on 21st Street then.
Sam, did you see the condition in the staff report? Has the applicant seen that?
I
The
think
homeowner?
so.
That the new concrete remains unpainted and a medium gray finish to match surrounding historic concrete?
Yes, the new concrete can do that. The existing front porch, of course, is pretty extensive, as well as those that descend directly in front of the front door. And I don't know that she intends to replace all of it. It would be necessary, obviously, to replace this portion here that you see in this photo.
And that was staff's, that was my understanding, was that just that as new concrete goes in, as concrete gets replaced, we not continue to paint it, because once it's painted, they can continue painting it and paint it whatever color they like, and we don't review that. So where we can get unpainted concrete, that seems to be the goal.
Okay.
Okay, then I'm ready to make a motion, unless anyone has any thoughts. No? Okay. I move to approve HPCA 18-00016, all items, according to the specific findings in the staff report and the one condition, including the agreed-upon condition as listed.
Okay. Second? Anybody?
Second.
Moved by Neil Craig Clements and seconded by Suzanne Broadbent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved.
Thank you very much.
All right, next. Case.
HPCA 18-00019 at 931 Northwest 16th Street, Mesta Park, Ward 6. Consideration and possible action on application of Cody Ruby by Patrick Ruby of Terra Construction for certificate of appropriateness to, 1, add exterior stair and door to previously approved garage, elective. The commission approved this garage early last year, and as they've been constructing it, they have returned to ask if they could provide access to what is a half-story via an exterior staircase rather than the pull-down ladder, like an attic access that was initially proposed.
Okay, applicant?
Yeah, so we already have, our garage is completely built, so we're just updating our now existing garage.
Could you state your name?
My name's Kelsey Ruby. I'm a homeowner. And so to me, it's really just a safety issue now that we're trying to get up there more. My husband's out of town over 50% of the year, so I just need to be able to get up there and down. And so having stairs would be much easier. And our neighbors next door and directly across the street both have new, within the past 2 years, built new garages that have exterior stairs. So it'll be mirrored with our neighborhood.
Okay.
And I think just last month, my next door neighbor, directly next door, was approved for a 1.5-story garage with an exterior stair that'll be visible. So.
Sure, come on up and...
Actually, last month, HBC meeting, they had the same conditions where, the staff says it can be seen from Ollie and, of course, the alley. It's a 1.5-story garage. It's pretty much the same comments that was approved at the last meeting. I believe it was maybe item number 8. So, we pretty much have the same comments on this 1.5-story garage. It can be seen from Ollie, it can be seen from the alley, but, we would ask for your approval, based on what you've done in the past. Plus the safety issue. It's now going to be a sewing room, so it'll be used on a day-to-day basis. So, it's really not a safe situation to use attic access going in and up and down that room, especially when you're trying to carry stuff. So, anyway, that's what I wanted to add to it, and I appreciate you letting me speak here. Thanks.
Was it the sewing room going to be to the side before?
It was put that on the plans, but it was always intended to be the
Okay. It's supposed to be, it was going to be a workshop and a sewing room was going to be upstairs.
Right. Yeah, they switched that around. One time we thought maybe a hobby room, something like that, but now the addition to the right is the shop, and then the room up on top, the partial second floor will be sewing rooms.
So there's not enough room on the rear of the structure
No,
with
there's
those
like a
stairs?
2-foot walkway or space between the fence, the property line, and the back of the garage.
Site plan says 3 feet.
3 feet.
Yeah, 3 feet, yeah.
Not enough room for
Yeah, it
stairs.
was actually 2 feet, and we made it up to code and put it 3 feet. So.
Pat, can you tell me, do you know the address of the one you're referencing from last month?
Yeah, it's...
I have copies of what it looks like from last meeting, if you want.
It's 927 Northwest 16, which is the property just to the east of this property.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think I would need time to look at that case to try to understand better what was going on with that property and maybe why it was approved.
I have copies if you'd like.
I'm not comfortable doing that during a meeting, I don't think. I think I'd want a little more time.
Well, I think I'm kind of with the staff in their recommendation of a continuance that additional information is needed, including revisions to proposed design or documentation supporting historic use of exterior stairs. It's not just that you're going to copy what your neighbor has. We need to see what that's going to look like with this property.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll find what you approved on his was actually a balcony. We're just asking for a landing.
Well, that was, I remember that being part of the conversation last month was
How
that...
big was the balcony?
Yeah,
The landing?
yeah. Was that a landing? Was that a balcony? I remember that conversation,
Right.
which is why we can't say, well, just do what your neighbor did.
Well-
We're going to need some,
So
we're going to need the drawings, because am I missing
I have those right here.
the drawings for this
We have
property?
their drawings. Let's see.
More information on the stair, or?
I missed the second side, sorry.
Oh, there's the backside. I did the same thing. There it is.
And our neighbor directly across the street as well completed a garage last year that has exterior stairs that are visible from the street. And I have a picture of that garage as well, if you'd like that. So it's in line with the neighborhood and the adjacent homes.
Katie, is staff's comments really in reference to the massing of the one-story garage versus the two-story garage, that perhaps the stairs, the massing of the stairs is too large for a one-story garage?
Yeah, I think, and I'll have to look back at, I know that the one, your next door neighbor at 927 historically had a 1.5-story garage. I think we approved a full 2-story. I think generally when we've approved exterior staircases, it has been at a full 2-story garage that looked like a 2-story, whereas this garage was replacing a 1-story and was really intended to have the massing of a 1-story garage, even though it is technically 1.5. So staff felt that generally at this style of a garage with this massing, you would not see an exterior stair going up into the gable end with a door in the gable end quite as it's
The other
proposed.
one, we had a discussion on the legal definition of a 1.5 or a 2-story, correct?
Yes. Oh, that one is a 1.5-story. That one is also mid-block and not at a corner.
And so,
Put it back to the alley so you'll be able to see the stairs from Ollie. They're both going to be visible from the same location on the street.
I don't think this one is a 1.5-story by definition.
because
The 927, your definition of that was a 1.5-story.
I think you're right. I remember that now. I remember that
It's a
discussion.
partial
about
second
the-
floor.
That one,
Just like this one has. There's partial second floor.
right,
but this
there's
one,
some kind of height of the sidewall or something.
the sidewall, yes, to me, this is not it has attic storage, but a lot of 1-story houses have attic storage.
And this is a corner lot, right?
It is.
Okay. So that is different from a mid-block?
That's my feeling about, we had a lot of discussion about the 1.5-story.
Yeah, I
Right. Well,
think
and the 1.5-story versus 2-story thing, to me, doesn't even really seem relevant because we have an existing approved garage. So whatever you call it, we have an existing approved garage that we're trying to make additions to. So the sections that are called out in the findings are all about new construction, replacement garages. I already have that. I'm just trying to make addition to an existing structure. So really the sections in the standards and guides that apply are the parts that say locate ramps, railings, and other accessibly rated installations on the back side or side elevation of accessory building. Spacing and sizes of new windows or door openings in a garage or other accessory building must be similar to the historic counterparts of the property.
Could you speak into the microphone?
Yeah.
So it's recorded?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Spacing and sizes of a new window or door openings in a garage or other accessory building must be compatible with the existing accessory building and similar to the historic counterparts within the property, streetscape, district, and must be proportioned to the window to wall space without necessarily duplicating them.
So I'm sorry, I wasn't here last month. That's when, has this case been heard before, or was it just another garage at another house?
We're talking, yeah, the one she's thinking about was another one, but
So
I think,
your garage is a new garage, though. It is a newly built structure, correct?
Yeah, but it's completed. So it's already approved. It's an approved, completed structure that we're now trying to make changes to.
It was approved.
So if you look
Last
in,
March.
I don't have mine in front of me, but if you look in at the beginning of section 3.1 of the guidelines, it says that structures that are less than 25 years old or that are considered to be non-historic by the commission fall under guidelines for new construction. So when we look at a garage that was approved less than a year ago, we're going to look at the garages for new construction, or the guidelines for new construction, and assess whether the change to the design would have been approved if it were part of the original proposal, rather than treating it like a historic garage that's being altered. So I understand I appreciate your reading the guidelines and looking for that, but that's a distinction that we.
I'm in agreement. I think that if the stairs would have been included on the original plan, that we would have had the same concern that it was not at least a 1.5, or that, and mainly I think we're just, me personally, that when we're looking at massing, the size of the stairs compared to the size of the garage, that's kind of part of it, that the stairs seem large compared to the size of the garage.
One other thing I'd like to point out is, again, I'm just referencing the guides on the website and stuff. On the picture of approved, or it says possible locations and designs for new garages are depicted. One of the depictions shows visible stairs from the street on a 1.5-story garage with a sloped roof, just like ours. So it's directly in the guides that it looks exactly like our garage.
Yours is a 1-story garage.
Huh?
But yours is a one-story garage.
Ours is a 1.5-story garage.
I think it's a one-story personally.
What is the definition? Because we had that discussion.
We have.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
Well-
staff is saying it's a 1.5-story garage.
Yep, I think in the initial staff report for the review of the proposed garage, it was called out as 1.5-story. It's a 1.5-story replacing a 1-story. The code definitions for what is a 1.5 talks about that the wall, the distance of the wall from the floor to where it meets the ceiling, the roof, can be no more than 3 feet. It doesn't say what a minimum is. So it doesn't really, it kind of puts a maximum limit on what a half-story is, not a minimum. So I'm not exactly sure what the distinction, where that line would fall on.
I mean,
whether it's
I'm home alone a lot. My husband travels all the time. And for this to be a usable space for us, we need to be able to have safe access to it. And I just picture myself with attic stairs being like Chevy Chase and National Lampoon's Vacation and just falling down. It's just, to me, it's a safety concern for me. And also, it's a resale concern. Whenever my next door neighbor and my neighbor directly across the street have had approved exterior stairs on new garages, and I've spent tens of thousands of dollars to build this as of they, but they get to have exterior stairs and I don't, it's putting my home value suppressed compared to my neighbors. When we've both built new garages and both have room upstairs to have storage, and it just seems like we should be able to have when we all do that, we should be able to have stairs, because otherwise my value is going to be suppressed and my safety.
It's an unusual, I mean, I don't want you to feel like that we're picking on you. It's an unusual situation. You know, it is unusual in that, you know, generally we see stairs going up to an apartment, stairs going up to, you know, what we would see as a usable space. There's not a window. So I think in the beginning, I think that's where it kind of seems more like stairs going to storage, whether you can use it or not.
Well, the stairs meet code. The stairs, it'd be a normal door.
But we're following the guidelines, and I think it's one of those that just kind of falls in the cracks here on the size of the stairs versus the size of the structure, in my opinion.
Well, that's what, I'll reference back again, the one you approved last month, 927 Northwest 16. That's depicted as storage up on top. And so, he's got a stair going to his storage. At least that's what the drawings depict. Plus he's got a balcony about 3 times the size of what we're proposing.
And they were approved for a double garage door instead of 2 individual garage doors, which doesn't meet the guidelines either. So it's frustrating as a homeowner when there's certain things in here that are spelled out specifically like that, like not having a single garage door be approved. It should be 2. But then that was approved for my next door neighbor and my neighbor across the street.
Mr. Brown, you're an architect. We've got a drawing there showing, we've kind of got those stairs, with 2 landings, kind of tucked up in the corner.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Garage, so aesthetically,
it's behind and it's tucked back.
Right.
When you originally submitted, access was a pull-down stair. What changed?
To me, I'm not a very visual person, or I'm a very visual person, and so I didn't realize how much space was going to be up there. So I really didn't realize how usable it was going to be. And so just the accessibility and the space up there has really opened up. In the main part, the head height is like 7 feet. So it's a real space that we're going to be able to get a lot more use out of than I think I initially had understood. And so now, to me, it's a true space and not just storage for the Christmas tree.
I think originally, too, we had we had the stairs inside the garage, and it was, we brought that in to a meeting here, and we had to shorten it up to 450 square feet. So based on 450 square feet, we didn't have any room, for those stairs.
Yeah. So, just one comment you touched on that makes me just have to say that the 7 feet is not permitted in an occupied space.
It's not occupied.
Well, you're calling it a sewing room, right? You're going to use it as a sewing room? It's not going to be storage.
I'm sewing stuff up there.
Storage or a sewing room?
Storage.
Okay, I thought you said you were going to make it a sewing room, sorry.
Well, for my sewing stuff.
Huh?
For my sewing stuff.
I think it's either storage where you store stuff, or it's a space you actually use. And the plans say sewing room, and we're hearing storage. I think it's getting a little confusing.
I'm just saying when you go get a building permit, if it's 7 feet
does one way or the other get us approved?
Yeah, we've already got the building permit, and we have the final on it.
You have a permit for as an occupied space?
We show that, we actually show, on the building permit, we show really nothing for that, really.
Well, it's storage, I guess, but it sounds like you want to use the space to me for more than storage, and that's why you want to have a better stair.
Yeah. We think Kelsey...
Which means you want to use it. Instead of storage, you want to occupy it as a sewing room or something. But I'm saying that's not 7 feet.
What we're trying to do mainly is Kelsey can't even pull down an attic access to get up there, and her husband's out of the country most of the time, so, she sees no really value of the attic access. So what we're trying to do is provide a safe access to this area. And by doing that, we would have a stair.
Sorry, didn't mean to muddle it.
To a storage room.
With two landings, with a 2.6 by 6.8 door.
I understand. I'm just saying that...
And really, use is not under the commission's purview anyway. It doesn't matter what you're using it for. What we're looking at is...
Makes a difference on the justification for the stair.
Maybe.
If it was an occupied space, I think you ought to have good access. But if it's just storage, a lot of people have a pull-down stair.
Yep.
Which is different from the other that was last month. That was a occupied space.
I mean, to me, it would kind of leave open, it would leave open the idea of any one-story garage that had a flat gable, a gable end, that you could request a stairs so that it would be easier to get to the storage.
I mean, I plan to use it as I want to use it as best I can. So yeah, I would like to be sewing up there.
Well,
but if...
I think wouldn't be permitted, but what was the one from last month? Was that just a storage space, or was it an apartment, or what? Just curious what we approved.
We have the drawings if you'd like to look at them.
They're going to have a half bath up there. It's going to be an occupied space.
But the plan calls storage is what it calls.
It says storage on it?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember?
I have it in front of me. It says storage.
It says storage, but they're going to use it as an occupied space.
It has windows and doors into the space.
Okay, so it has higher clearance than 7 feet.
Yes.
It's a usable space.
Yeah.
That's my point.
It met the definition for a half-story. Yeah. Now, the code does say a half-story containing independent apartments or living quarters shall be counted as a full story, which is not something we typically discuss because a lot of times applicants don't show us the interior of that half-story, but that's something to note.
Well, I just fear that it would leave open the idea of putting staircases on the back of some one-story garages.
Yeah, and to me, a space that's at its highest is 7 feet. That's not a
It
usable...
might be higher. Don't hold me to dimensions.
Well, I am what you submitted. I'm holding what you submitted. It says 7 feet.
You have it on the drawings.
To me, that's not a usable space. It could be storage, as opposed to last month, they pointed out that sounds like it was a usable space with a minimum of 8 feet for the most part. you can count as usable space down to 5 feet, but 7 feet is, it's not permitted for usable space.
But we're just talking about historic approval. Historic approval, what looks good in our neighborhood. I mean, I've lived in Meseta for years now, and garage, like, this is a good-looking garage. Like, we did good. And so a lot of garages in our neighborhood look like this, and a lot of garages have exterior stairs. And
I understand.
When my neighbors next door and across the street, because I've talked to both of those neighbors, and they both said, I mean, we got exterior stairs approved. I don't see why you shouldn't.
Exterior stairs to what, though? To me, it's an attic space that's not usable, except
But a potential buyer isn't going to see it that way. A potential buyer is going to see.
We're not looking at that. We're looking at the guidelines, and I still would say that it leaves us open to approving exterior staircases for one-story garages so people could more easily access the attic, which is not a historic use of historic stairs. The stairs is traditionally used to go so people could use the space, like an apartment, generally like an apartment.
Or access to a usable space.
Right.
For people.
But I disagree because it's not a one-story garage. A one-story garage is something where, I would say it would be ceiling height 8 foot inside with a garage. This is a garage with an 8-foot ceiling space with a 17-foot ridge height. A one-story garage, I would say, would be like a 10-foot ridge height. I think we need to look at this as a 1.5-story garage, just like you looked at 927 Northwest 16th as a 1.5-story garage with storage in it. That's what you approve that space as, storage.
I'm just going off the dimensions of the attic space, which is 7 feet in the center to the ridge. That, to me, doesn't meet the standards of a usable space.
Well,
which would be required, a 1.5-story garage would have a usable space.
Yeah, well,
second floor.
It's a good-sized space.
If
It's going to be.
If we wanted to raise the rafter tails up, we could probably get 8 foot. It's just something.
That's just.
We want a safe access.
Does the other architect have any point of view on this?
Yeah, I was looking at this, and if it were just a standard 2-car garage, then I could understand that it would be difficult, to build some stairs in and still park your cars and, get around. You do have the sewing room adjacent to it, and to me, it's not a tiny room. You could easily, have the stairs that comes up along the, what is that?
Does that say a 7?
Along the south side?
On the east, like the back side of the garage. If you had it come up the back side of the garage, turn 90 degrees, go up, essentially, where that ridge is, where the highest part of the space is, and then you could put a door there, and you could still come into the sewing room from the front side. So,
Are you talking?
There are ways.
Which drawing are you looking at?
I'm just looking at
through the back of the workshop and up through. I think that would hurt the structural integrity of it, because you'd be breaking out all of those rafters and then going up through all the headers on that.
So are you talking about putting a stair inside what we call the sewing room?
correct. If you on the, I guess that'd be the east wall maybe, if this is oriented north. If you started the stairs going up on the north side, inside the sewing room, turned it 90 degrees to where it pretty much ended up at the ridge, it seems like that might be
We
enough.
only have 150 square foot in that room, so, it's a pretty minimal space anyway.
Right.
So if you put a, say, a 3-foot wide stair,
I guess my point is it's not impossible. You could do storage underneath it or shelving or something. It seems like it's not, it wouldn't prevent you from using it. I think, I don't know how much room you need for the sewing room, but, that'd give you access to that space, whatever you want to use it for. You'd have access to it with a full
That was the original
stairs.
plan, is to put a stair in, but we had a 550 square foot garage, maybe 600. So, we went ahead and took it back down to 450, which is, the standard size for garages in that area. So that's when we had to do away with the inside stairs.
I mean, this is the stairs that was approved next door, exterior stairs on a 1.5-story garage approved last month. And then here, just directly across the street, are the exterior stairs for my neighbor directly across the street. So
That looks like a two-story garage to me.
the second one is.
Yep. So
But
I have to
regardless,
correct
it-
myself, that Lorene, your drawing is very small, that to the peak, your drawing says 7'8.5" I thought it said 0, so you've got a little more space than I thought.
Perfect.
Still
Don't
less-
hold me to my dimensions.
Well, still less than 8 feet, though, but still not by code, I don't think.
But Alan, if
But
we
we're
had
not
to-
here for code, we're here
But I'm just
for
saying, I want to
approval.
correct what I said,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Yeah.
It sounds like we maybe have quite a few questions that are unanswered and that we're not at a point where everyone's going to feel like they can approve it without those questions being answered, including some more careful analysis of the garages around you that we've discussed, maybe including some of the questions about what's a half-story, what's a full story, what's storage space. So are you all okay with a continuance? And we can-
Not really. And I appreciate your concern, but, you know,
I just don't know what else we could provide.
Well, one thing I think that you're mentioning several other garages around you that the commission, and I know you brought copies with you, but, we try not to take new documents at the meeting. I think that if the commission had time to more fully understand what those garages were, what the conditions were of those approvals, to see, okay, we approved this one because of X, Y, and Z, and here's why that is or is not applicable to your garage, that would be
well,
helpful.
Katie, we're prepared to give each individual member a pamphlet with those drawings if we could spend 5 minutes to look at it. Based on the approval of 927.
We don't accept new information in the meetings normally, because we need to look at it and consider it. We can't do it in 5 minutes.
My apologies. I read the information that said to make 25 copies or whatever, but I missed the part that said and provided 24 hours before the meeting. So my apologies.
Yeah, and then we get it emailed or so.
And if it's just images, the commission can quickly look at those, but I think with these, they're going to want to look at the findings from the staff reports from those previous approvals and the...
And we have that here, too. So.
Sure, I understand what you're saying.
I'm still unclear about the 1.5-story across the street. That was approved as a usable space? Is that what we did?
It's not part of our...
I'm not sure about the one across the street. There's one next door that's...
Which one has
Interior
windows?
lot.
Has windows? Which one is that?
Well, the one next door has windows and was described as a 1.5-story, but has windows and doors and such, and has the exterior stair.
Right.
That's next door.
Do we know whether that is insulated space and heated and cooled on the second
It is.
floor?
I would imagine it is.
That one is? Is yours heated and cooled and
It is.
insulated?
It is.
Tell me about the interior steps that you're saying you have difficulty with. What is that situation?
Pull
Well-
down stair.
Pull down?
Yeah, pull down.
And what problems are you having with that?
Well, so they're just narrow and steep, and when I'm carrying a 30, 40-pound sewing machine, it's just scary.
She can't even pull it down. I mean...
Well, get your husband to carry it up there.
She weighs not much. It's just...
We don't
without her
have to talk
husband
about
there,
my weight.
Without her husband there, she can't even get it down to get up there.
Yeah. Those stairs are cumbersome. I agree with that.
The new house I built, I'll just give you this idea, just so you'll know. I put in a VersaLift, which is a 2x4 little Elevette type of...
They're also $3,000. We looked into that.
It's $2,400. I have the number I can give you. And they work like a charm. I'm just not good with this stairs on the outside, like in agreement with Joe.
So we could continue to provide more information that we can look at it before the next meeting. You've got most of it, so you could submit it by next Tuesday for sure, to April something, 4th?
It would be April 4th. And you'll tell us what you need? I'm just kind of unclear on that, but you'll tell us what we
Yes,
need.
I think what you've brought today, and then we can talk either later today, depending on when we get out, or tomorrow, about what else we could pull together.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you. And someone want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to continue HPCA 18-00019 to the April 4th meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Joe Meacham and seconded by George Massey. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, continue. We'll see you
You want
next
to
month.
sign in, correct?
Yes, please, if you didn't. Thank you. Okay, last case.
HPCA 18-00020 at 712 Northwest 42nd Street, Crown Heights, Ward 2. Consideration and possible action on application of Sally Lamprick by Gary Hale of GBH Designs, Inc. for certificate of appropriateness to 1, demolish garage elective, 2, construct garage elective, 3, replace driveway elective, and 4, replace concrete porch elective. I will just note that the staff report mentioned several things on which we were lacking documentation. We have talked with the applicant since, and I think are more on the same page of what else needs to be submitted. But the applicant did want to at least get the commission's review of the proposed demolition, and then perhaps the commission would weigh in on the proposed hip roof instead of the existing gable roof on the replacement garage.
Okay.
What about the size?
The applicant has agreed to reduce the size to match the existing garage.
Okay.
So that'll be submitted as a revision.
Okay, so we're commenting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having trouble getting past the demolition. I feel like we need additional documentation to show the state of disrepair that necessitates demolition. I don't feel like we have enough information, since the burden of proof is on the applicant, to show that it is a hazard to health or whatever.
Hello, my name's Gary Hale. Do you want, like, pictures of the studs on the dirt, or the
We
no
want
double
anything
plates?
that you think would prove that demolition is the only option.
Right, so if the foundation
Lots
is...
and lots of
Can I
photographs.
Bring these to you and let you
Sure.
keep them?
There we go. They're just photographs, though. So.
The ridge jacks are broken. The basic ridge is pretty well shot. The horse jacks are gone. It's all built out of 2x4. None of it had 2x6 or proper bracing when it was designed. Now, is that original to 1936? No. Those are dimensional those are saw-cut studs, so they're not full dimensional.
I'm sorry, even with these photographs, the damage in there that's shown there is pretty common and repairable. Sometimes we actually will go out and visit the structure to get a feel for it for ourselves. And I'm just speaking for myself here.
Or sometimes we'll have a professional
Or you'll get
engineer
yeah.
or architect, just write a letter to state that it's a threat to public safety.
Well, if you want Tim Johnson to come back out there, he surveyed the site and got the right footage, because there was, Katie and I were visiting about discussing the footage, and she wanted to make sure it was accurate to the structure. So I went and did get a survey. Tim finished it last week, so we can have him stay, but it's going to fall down eventually. You've got probably more than a 10-inch swagger to one side. You can't. This house didn't even have garage doors on it.
It's a leaning.
It's a lean-to.
10
Yeah.
inches?
It's leaning both directions. It's like an old horse from the from the north-south elevation, and from the west elevation, and the north and the south has got probably about a 60, 80 degree movement, at least 10 degrees to 15 off. There were no garage doors on this structure. And I don't know why, honestly, how it got past inspections when the lady bought it. It shouldn't have.
What are the criteria for demolition, just so...
So on
Is it in here?
it should be in your staff report, specifically for garage demolitions. Let's see.
The other thing I want you all to realize is that this has 1 by 12 masonite on it. Now, masonite was not invented in the 50s, so we know this was sometime added into the 60s on a weekend father-son deal.
So I apologize because I put the staff report together and you're missing, I think, 2 of the 3 criteria for garages. Page 3 of the staff report, it talks about the structure is a garage or other accessory building and meets at least one of the following criteria, addressing the functionality and continued use of the historic structure in relation to the impact of a demolition on the historic character of the property or district. Number 2 is that the condition of the structure makes it physically impractical to rehabilitate without the loss of all or nearly all fabric contributing to its historic integrity. And we have utilized that as a factor for some of the garages we see where just by the nature of how they were built, yes, you could repair it, but you're going to have to keep repairing it because it's not practical to rehabilitate. There's also a criteria here that is not in the staff report that talks about the structure not being historic in the first place, which is one of our criteria for any demolitions. And then we have another one that talks about having a minimal impact on the character of the property due to things like visibility or having been heavily altered, et cetera. And so I'm sorry that that's missing from this document.
I mean, I would agree. I would think all those findings apply to this case.
Say again?
I think all of those findings that Katie just said, you know, the material, you just listed 3. I think all of those apply to allowing for demolition. Are they listed? I was trying to follow you, but I...
No, they're not. That's only one is. So.
Only one.
Okay.
And you believe it to be non-historic because of the masonite, or is there another?
Yes. Yeah, and dimension. It has just regular 2x4s. It was not. I look for, if we're going to go into historical, you need to make sure the garage had full dimension wood, and this did not. And so, and just the way it was put together, even in the old days, they used collar ties. They knew what they were doing. If they built a garage out of 2x4 into full dimensional, this is not. This was probably back in those days Sutherland lumber down on Reno.
Okay. So, Katie, starting out, what are we doing today? We're just advising, or?
Well, it's for full-fledged. If you want to approve every bit of it, you can approve it today.
Okay.
Staff's recommendation was not to approve the proposed garage at this point without additional documentation and some revisions that we discussed with the applicant. The one thing on the design of the new garage that we had discussed was whether or not the commission would approve changing the existing gable roof to a hipped roof. And I think that to some extent depends on if we feel like this is a historic garage.
Or not, right.
And the reason I went to hip was, number 1, for strength, and number 2, the back of this home, existing, is all hipped. They only have front gables to the street.
Okay, but we need more documentation, of course.
Well, if I could just get you all to approve the demo, because it's going to take a while to tear this thing out of there. And especially with the winds, high winds and everything coming up for the spring, I'd like to get started on that.
I would make a motion to approve it if Katie would read the specific findings out that are to be included.
I'm looking for the specific language that I omitted, and I'm very sorry about that.
Katie, would I have anything you need?
It's in the
no, so, okay.
Rita's got the book, Karen.
Okay. Well, that would have been a good idea. That's okay. I've got it. So on the one that you do have about the structure being a garage or other accessory building, it is, number 1, the structure is not large enough to accommodate a standard-sized parking space and cannot reasonably be altered to do so. So that does not apply.
Okay.
Number 2 is the one you have in the staff report. Number 3, the structure is not original to the property And number 4, the structure has minimal impact upon the historic integrity of the property and district due to factors including the structure's lack of historic integrity and significance, architectural significance, or minimal to no visibility from a public way.
Okay. Yeah, were you putting together a motion sometime?
I mean, I would make a motion. Can you just give me those citation numbers? Or what?
I would say numbers 2 through 4 of the demolition criteria for garages and other accessory buildings.
Okay. I would make a motion for HPCA 18-00020 for item 1, demolition of the garage, with the specific findings of 2 through 4 of the demolition criteria listed in the guidelines.
Okay. Second. Been moved by Joe Meacham and second by Suzanne Broadbent. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item 1's been approved.
Okay, thank you.
I would make a motion to continue items 2, 3, and 4 to the
Are you okay with May 2nd?
Yeah,
May 2nd.
you just need a little more back.
Yep, we need the
Drawings.
revised drawings like we talked about with the change
Yeah.
in the footprint and some additional
Yeah, well,
materials.
let's do that, and then you can do it the next meeting maybe or something. Yeah.
To the May.
So is May 2nd okay?
Well,
Continue to the,
let's see.
If we say April 4th, you have till.
yeah, if we do it to April 4th, you only have till Tuesday to get all new documents.
Tuesday of next week?
Yep.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. no
Continue
problem.
to the April 4th meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, okay. First one. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, get your name right. Okay, it's been moved by Joe Meacham and seconded by Klaus Ryman Philip. Right, Ryman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's been continued. Thank you. Yes. Sorry, you were out, weren't you? Okay.
Okay,
All right.
we already heard number 8 that was moved up to number 2.
All right, so no other business, communication reports, lots of administrative approvals. Anything else? City Council?
City Council, that Klaus has been appointed.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, Klaus has been appointed for 1 month because Jeff's term only had 1 month left, so he'll be appointed again. So you'll get lots of exciting letters in the mail from the mayor and that sort of thing. Assuming you want to come back one more time, we'll make sure we get that redone.
Okay.
Nothing to report from Board of Adjustment. The home sharing ordinance, kind of nicknamed Airbnb, that the commission made a recommendation on a couple of months ago, will be presented at a study session of the Planning Commission tomorrow. That will be at 11 o'clock in the large conference room of the Arts District parking garage, and that is open to the public.
Okay.
We can get you, the staff can get you the staff report and agenda if you're interested in any of those materials.
Okay. Anything but municipal counselor's office? Enjoyed seeing you, so I guess Laura will be back next month. Okay, next meeting date, the next regular scheduled meeting for the Historic Preservation Commission is April 4th, 2018 at 2 p.m. at the Municipal Building, City Council Chamber. New applications for this meeting were received March 6, 2018. New information on projects continued from today's meeting to the upcoming meeting must be submitted to staff by 4 p.m. Tuesday, March 13th. The next regularly scheduled workshop for the Historic Preservation Commission is Wednesday, March 14th, 2018, from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at 420 West Main, Suite 900. Any items from commissioners?
I have a question for staff, or a suggestion. I think sometimes you just need to tell people their application is not finished. Sometimes, I mean.
And to not.
Yes, I agree.
Because
I would love to discuss that with you at great length.
Okay.
Not.
Well, I mean, we do have, they're supposed to check all of these things before their
talked about that,
application
the
goes
checklist.
forward, and it just seems like on some of these where you're asking for additional information, if you need additional information, I'm not sure that their application is complete and that they should come to the commission meeting.
They should not come to commission.
So sometimes, like with some of them, when it's additional information, we're really saying, change your proposal. And staff has probably told them that, but they've wanted to hear it from the commission, that we've said, we don't think this is going to be approved, we don't think it's appropriate, but they want to go ahead and take it to the commission and get the commission's input. I would say the vast majority of the time, when we are lacking documentation, it does not come to the commission. We don't continue it. Sometimes when we've had a very difficult time getting the documentation, it's helpful to go ahead and let them hear that in a staff report and hear it from the commission that this is what is still needed. But yes, by and large, we try very hard not to bring anything to the commission
Right.
that is
Oh, and
not
I know
ready
you
to
do.
be
I'm
reviewed.
just, if there's a checklist and you can't check all of it, then it would seem like you just have to say to them, this is the list. It is not, we have not
Yes.
checked it off.
Yes.
But anyway, I mean,
There is a
that's,
checklist. but-
because then then they wait. In some ways, I think it presents an even bigger problem, because then they only have like 3 or 4 days to make these changes, and they want to go forward. And so if you just tell them no, then maybe they'll do something. Anyway, that's just just comments on that.
It's difficult. Okay, any citizens left? Are you a citizen? You don't want to be heard? Oh, you're an observer, okay. All right.
He's going to write a big expose about all of that. You're the journalism student, correct, from OU?
Okay.
So,
All right.
so I'm serious. He's going to write a big expose on it.
Okay, so that'll be interesting. Okay, if there's no other citizens to be heard, we are adjourned. Thank you.